At this time, I'd like to call the Public Works Committee meeting of May 28th, 2025, 6:31. Call it to order. This time, absent Eric Mankins, President Dan Callahan, President Bill Boyle, President Russ O'Leary, and President Trudy Healy. Tonight we have on the docket communication number 2024-544, Michelle Shea, District 2 Commissioner, requesting a status update and Public Works Committee review of the conditions of the walking trail tunnel under Harrison Avenue south of Dickey's Barbecue. We do have present here Mark Neary. Mr. Neary, could you give us an update?
Thank you, Chairman O'Neill. I talked to Jim Pisani today, and he still hasn't. Thank you, Chairman O'Neill. I reached out to Jim Pisani today, and he still doesn't have any new information on the traffic study or traffic count at Harrison Avenue.
Thank you, Mr. Neary. Did he give you any time frame of any good guesses of when we were lucky enough to know that?
I asked that question, and he didn't have an answer.
Thank you, Mr. Neary. Does anybody have any questions regarding that? Mr. Callahan?
I guess my question is, what's the traffic study going to?
When MDT put in the crossing, it was safe at that time. Traffic has increased a lot there, but they need to know the numbers to make sure if there's even one warranted there.
Oh, the crosswalk, you mean?
The crosswalk,
on
yes.
top?
Yep.
Oh,
It has nothing to do with the culvert.
oh, okay,
This is all to see if the crosswalk is safe.
okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Any more questions regarding that? Commissioner Healy?
It was just an idea whether the culvert itself could be repaired. Has anyone taken a look at it? Since it's rust that created a hole that's letting the water into the tunnel, more water into the tunnel.
I believe one of the things we're looking at is whose is it? Whose is it to repair? We don't think it's ours, and MDT doesn't think it is MDT's, but we don't have an agreement for that culvert. I told Jim Pisani today that the culvert is rusted, both of them are, but it isn't just the water coming in from the culvert, it's coming in from other avenues too. It's even coming in from the south. So there's a lot of water going in there, and until we figure out, right now it's MDT's. So both those culverts are running under their road, their MDT's, until we can find an agreement that says that it's ours. And we can't find one.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. At this time, is there any other questions from any of the? I do have a question. Who is working on knowing where or who, what, when, where, whose it is? Is that something we need to get the county attorney involved in? Or is that, what process do we have to go through to find out who's responsible for it? Because obviously the traffic count's not going to do anything with that.
So MDT is looking for an agreement now. I don't think we have one. As it is right now, they're MDT's culverts running under Harrison Avenue.
Thank you. All right, next, last call for the communication. Okay.
Make a motion to hold in abeyance communication 2024-544 until we have further information.
We have a motion to hold in abeyance communication number 2024544, a second by Commissioner Healy. All those in favor? Any opposed? All right, moving on. Next, we have communication number 2025248, John Anderson, Odyssey Rentals, requesting Council of Commissioners approval to not tear up the street asphalt in front of 403 through 405 and a half West Granite Street, to simply then replace it with other asphalt. We do have Mr. Anderson here with us in the audience also. Mr. Neer, do you have any comments or concerns on this right now? No? John, would you like to come up to the mic and just tell us your name and address for the record?
My name is John Anderson. I live at 2600 Bancroft in Missoula, Montana. And it's, let's see, going through the process, got a new sidewalk approved, and through some various problems with new contractors who didn't understand the story of coming in and getting a permit, they ended up applying for the permit mid-project, and one of the public works staff came down and told them that they would need to do this 2-foot thing, and the contractor said, well, I have this approach that would work. And, if it's okay, then it would mean not digging up the asphalt. And that person approved it, said it's okay. And then when it was all done, then the team that inspected it said it's not okay. That, we need to do the 2 feet of tear the asphalt out and put it back in. And my understanding is that the reason for doing this is that before you start the project, that taking out that 2 feet of asphalt means that the road would not be damaged during the process of building the sidewalk. And the road is not damaged, and that was something that everybody agreed on. And basically, we were funding it through the URA, and so right now we've gotten half of the money for that project and some others, and it's contingent upon whether we either just get this project done, or if we can get a variance, then that changes the finances. And we've looked around town and just see a bunch of places where this has been done. And actually just across the street from us, there's one where it isn't 2 feet and it's very new. This asphalt has been torn up a little bit. So we're just wondering, since there's no damage, is it possible to just say, fine, because it hasn't been damaged, and it can't be damaged at this point. I mean, I don't see any way that it could be.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson.
Chairman, I'm going to pass around this out of our road standards. The dark area is right directly out of our road standards. Do you want to copy this too? Just the bottom line that's highlighted there. And then these curb sections in our road standards also, so for our concrete curb. Monolithic edge for the sidewalk, what they seem to have poured. So what the Johnsons did, or whoever their contractor was, they did remove the old sidewalk and re-poured in a new sidewalk without taking out the asphalt. Now, granted, the street is not damaged, I will give them that, but you can see here on our concrete spec, it shows a 12-inch curb, monolithic curb. I think it's 12 by 6. So that is the edge of their sidewalk running down. And the reason that we like that smooth finish is because I believe on the finish on their sidewalk, there's only about a 3-inch exposed face. And that's because of all the overlays throughout the year. So it's supposed to be to start out with a 6-inch exposed face, okay? And then you still have 6 inches down in the ground. That's why we do that. That's why we want them to form up that edge. And you have to cut the asphalt out in order to form up that edge to have the smooth face down the 12 inches. What was happening before is they would cut it back 3 or 4 inches, get the 12-inch form in there, and then pull the form out and then just stuff the asphalt down in there so they couldn't get compaction on it. That's why we made it 2 feet. It has to be 2 lifts of asphalt, 4 inches, so it's 2 2-inch lifts. Your first 2-inch lift, you hit it with the plate whacker. And your second lift, you can usually get with the roller, or you could do it with the plate whacker, but that's why we go with the 2 foot. So I don't know what their face looks like. I know it's not smooth, and I don't even know if it went down any. The only way to check that is tear the street out. So this, as Mr. Johnson said, it was funded through URA, 50%. In the checklist for URA, they were supposed to get a business license in Butte because they're from Missoula and get proper permits, and they didn't. I don't know who from Public Works said it was okay, because I'm Public Works, and Zane, who works for me, he didn't say it was okay either. So this is why we go with that. And like I say, the Johnsons didn't hurt any asphalt. Oh, Henderson, I'm sorry. Anderson, I can't hear either. So Anderson, you can't tell where they hurt the asphalt. The asphalt does look good, but down on one corner, you can see where some of the concrete came out onto the street. So I don't know does it stop right there? When we're going to do a mill fill project, are we going to undermine the sidewalk? That's what I don't know. And it would not be a smooth finish. That's the whole reason that we do. That's the reason we require the 2-foot cut.
Thank you both for the explanations. Mr. Anderson?
So I understand it better now, and I do not know what the contractor said in his explanation. I have no idea if he actually did go down, and I agree, there's no way to know.
So, even if he did go down, it's not a smooth finish, because you didn't put, there wasn't a form on it. Because you didn't put a form on it because it's right out to the asphalt.
Right out to the asphalt.
That's why we
I
cut it back
understand.
2 feet.
Okay.
12-inch steel forms, you need room to get in there and put the stakes and stuff in. That's why we do the 2 feet and for compaction.
Right, I understand that, okay.
So I have a question. What good is it to dig it up now? If we dig up the asphalt and we replace the asphalt, how does that improve
My
the
recommendation
situation?
would be to cut the curb off. Cut 6 inches off, take out the asphalt, form it down to 12 inches, and pour it back in. And follow the rules and procedures that are in place. Especially when you had a checklist from the URA coordinator that stated what you were supposed to do.
Yeah, we understand that piece, but what you have just said is brand new.
Well, I get it.
We had not heard any of that from any of the conversations that we've had, and we've had many.
Yeah,
And
we had a
so
meeting
what
with-
you're saying is completely a new piece of information altogether. Well, I mean, no, to talk about the fact that he wants a smooth finish and da-da-da-da, and wanted to frame up against it, all that, that's new. And,
You've never met with me.
no, that's true. I mean,
No, Zane has this. Zane has the same standards I do. Nobody said it was okay.
according to the contractor, I understand. I mean, I totally understand where you're coming from. You've got all your rules and all your regulations and all that. And we're just not at all convinced that the solution that you're coming up with is one that will actually help the situation, except for, as you're saying, start over. And we honestly, we can't afford to do that. That's not even in the realm of possibility. We've already sunk so much into that sidewalk, and I can't tell you how disappointed I am that we ever started it. If we'd have just left it the way it was, then our tenants could have continued to, sweep the sidewalk instead of shovel it, and that would have been what they would have been doing. But I am really massively disappointed that we ever took this project on. So that's where we are.
Commissioner O'Leary.
Thank you, Chairman O'Neill. Just a quick question. This project was funded with URA funds, is that correct? 50%. And have the funds have not been reimbursed for this project yet, is that correct? Sorry. Half of the concrete project, or was there a larger project involved?
Well, but half the sidewalk,
So, Commissioner O'Leary, the project is $9,000. URA was gonna fund $4,500. They've paid $2,500, I believe. I don't know, it's half of the 45, yeah. So we're still holding $2,500.
Just to follow up, so, I mean, as a county, when we're funding sidewalk projects, you know, there's a standard that we go by, and I guess I'm misunderstanding how the contractor that did this project did not have those standards in their hands when they started. Were they, are they a local crew here, or
They're from Deer Lodge.
they're from Deer
and,
Lodge?
You know, they had not done this kind of work in Butte before. So the first thing they had to do was get a Butte business license, which they, you know, the URA pointed out to them. And basically, the ball got dropped by them in terms of getting a permit. You know, we did not understand that we would need to get a permit or that they should get a permit. The work we've been doing on the property has been with contractors who are local, and they've always gotten permits that we didn't even know they needed to do. So basically, it's on us. You know, that if we did our homework through UR more, then we would have gotten a permit, and we would have had this. So we didn't.
Follow up if I could.
And
So I guess my question here is because this is being funded by the URA at least 50%, I mean, there's a reason why we have standards. We go by these standards when we're funding public projects because it's public money, and the public expects us to do the right thing with their money. And I guess I have a hard time understanding why we would start making exceptions with public dollars. You know, we have a responsibility to the citizens of this town that fund these projects to make sure that they are done to the standard that we've set. And I've participated in these projects myself, and I know it's a pain. I know that you know, having to pull permits is a pain. I know that having to get stuff inspected is a pain, but that's the process that we've set out for everybody, and everybody has to follow it. And you know, I know of a story where somebody didn't, you know, URA funded project that they didn't have the exact slope on a ADA ramp for the corner of a sidewalk, and it all had to get torn out and put back in to meet those requirements. And that's not only a Butte-Silver Bow thing, it's an ADA thing, and we hold these standards because it's important for us to, you know, get away from the days of having, you know, this is a personal soapbox thing, but, you know, no curb cuts and 12-inch, you know, curb reveals where you can't nobody can step up, and, you know, all the problems that come along with not having standards. And so I get the frustration of what you folks are going through. I wish that your contractor would have gotten the standards ahead of time and followed the standard from the very beginning, but I have a really hard time supporting any kind of variance at this time.
Commissioner Healy.
Yeah, I guess, I mean, I feel bad for you guys as well, but if we start making variances for you and then somebody else comes along and say, well, you did it for this variance for them, why can't we have a variance for this or that? And then they're right, then they can say, well, you guys are discriminating against me.
yeah, understand. I think one of the reasons we decided to ask for a variance is that our understanding was that all we would need to do is rip up the asphalt and replace it with more asphalt. You know, not getting the word that, you know, that what should have happened would be, as you're saying, cut off 6 inches. You know, take out the asphalt, cut off 6 inches, go down 12 inches, you know, and do that. You know, that would have, at that point, I don't think we would have asked for a variance. But it still is, it's a hit.
Because we honestly thought it was about the fact that the street was ruined. We thought that was the singular issue. Is the street ruined? No. We had not heard anything else up until tonight that there was anything else that had needed to take place. So we would not have asked
Yeah, we would not have asked if we had any idea about any of this other that you are now talking about. We had never heard it before. We heard the street needs to be not damaged. The street isn't damaged, and we didn't want to damage it by ripping it up and putting down a new piece of asphalt. And that was pretty straightforward. This is a whole new can of worms, and I don't even know what to think.
Commissioner Callahan.
Thank you, Chairman. Is there any possibility that your contractor would eat half of the cost, seeing that it's his obligation to know the codes?
Yes, Mr. Neary.
One project that we have at the M&M right now, you can see where they left the curb off because it was winter when they did it, and they're going to cut the asphalt back and pour the curb, and they'll tie it right into that sidewalk, which you could do the same on your sidewalk. You don't have to tear the whole sidewalk out.
This is, I guess, more of a question for Director Neary. Is there a possibility that if they take the asphalt back to the 2 feet and examine the face of that sidewalk and are able to verify that they got the 12 inches of lift, that they may not have to do that? Is that a good understanding of that?
Yes.
So I guess that's one possibility for you as well. I mean, and maybe one of the reasons why, of course, I wasn't party to all the conversations that were had between our staff and you folks, but you know, if you pull the sidewalk or the 2 feet of asphalt back and examine that face, and you're able to determine, then maybe you could avoid having to cut the 6 inches off the sidewalk. Go ahead.
Any other questions or comments or concerns from anybody else? Oh yeah, Commissioner Callahan.
Thank you. I think this one might be for you, Mark. So are they supposed to inspect that before the concrete goes in? And did they see whether it went down 12 inches or not when they inspected it, or?
No, that was the problem, is we didn't have a permit, so, you know, there wasn't any inspections done on it.
Thank you. Any other questions? This time, would somebody like to make a motion?
First, I just want to start by thanking you folks for coming up here tonight. You know, I know it's hard to come in front of bodies like this, and we always appreciate when folks, you know, show up to talk to us and participate in the public process. But at this time, I'd like to make a motion to deny and place on file 2025-248.
Motion and a second made on the floor. All in favor? Any opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you all for attending. That'll do it. Thank you, folks. That'll do it.
So once we get in touch with our contractor, we would need to set up an inspection when they dig the asphalt out. Yes. And then we'll see what they see. Did you get your permits? Yeah, we have the permits. They actually came, they're in the middle of the process and partway into the permits. We do have the permits.
I'll just call our office.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I'm going to take a motion to adjourn the meeting. All those in favor? Thank you. Meeting is adjourned.